Welcome to the Practice Profit System podcast. Do you own a cash-based practice? Are you looking to start one? Tired of working endless hours and still not making enough money? Want to fire your insurance company? Then you're going to love our podcast. Each episode is full of insights and proven strategies to grow your practice to 7 figures and more, allowing you to take more time off, make more money, and no longer have to take insurance reimbursements. Plus, get a free copy of my book, The Anatomy of a 7-Figure Medical Practice, where I detail my entire journey to creating my own 7-figure practice. Just go to www.srpmedicalmarketing.com/book. You just pay $7.95 in shipping and handling, and you'll also get over $1,197 in free bonuses. That's www.srpmedicalmarketing.com/book. Now, on to our show.
Hey everybody, it is Matt Galogly with another episode of the Practice Profit System. And today I feel like I'm back home in Chicago because I have Sam Frentzas, who is, and Sam, tell me I got your last name right. Because, you know, the last name like Galogly, I hate effing up people's last names. So
you got it right, because I'm sure you've had a lot of practice with your last name. So when you see it, that was perfect, buddy.
That's it. Well, so today what we're going to talk about with Sam is we're going to talk about solving the number one problem for medical practice owners, and that is leads that show and buy. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, of all the things I deal with in coaching practice owners in the US and Canada, of the thousands of people on my list, the number one question I get is, Matt, how do I generate leads? Now, a lot of you have dealt with various different lead generation companies, and the story goes something like this. Matt, I hired a company. They said they could get me 30 leads a month. They did. We called the leads back. They sucked. Nobody answered. They didn't know who the hell we were. They couldn't speak English. They whatever the issue is, and you wind up spending thousands of dollars and you don't have much to show for it. And quite frankly, for 3 years, I have been on a quest to find someone who understands our world and actually delivers, and that's Sam. So Sam, I'm like super excited to have this conversation because one, I love the Chicago accent. If I slip into my Chicago accent during the call, we are not responsible for any F-bombs that are thrown. Please understand that the F word in Chicago, where we grew up, is a noun, a verb, and an adjective, and it's used everywhere, even by the priests and the nuns. Right, Sam?
You fucking got it, buddy.
So Sam is not a doctor, right? So Sam, tell everybody a little bit about your background and how the hell did you get in this wild, wacky world of doctors?
My background, I was a futures trader at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. My background is money and numbers. Mm-hmm. So when I retired from the exchange, I moved to California. I figured, get the hell out of this weather. My business partner, Walter, who's a nuclear engineer, built and sold businesses himself, sold his last one for $10 million. He retired for a year. I was retired. We met at an event because we're really close to a lot of stuff with Dan Kennedy. And we just started talking. And then we sat at a table together. It's kind of funny. And a doctor was really struggling with this practice. And look, you go to events, shiny object, you're going to buy something. And back then, right, you buy and they hand you this big packet of videos and DVDs. And he was sitting at the table and honestly, just had such a look on his face. So I was a little dumbfounded. I started talking to him. And realizing, look, he's done everything, right? There wasn't anything that he hasn't done to try to save his practice because he's got all these moving parts. He's a wonderful guy, great doctor, but he's also a business owner. So Walter was walking by with his wonderful wife, Jana, and I stopped him. So somebody introduced us. I knew who he was because he won Marketer of the Year, even though, again, nuclear engineer, business guy, but through Dan Kennedy. Was getting his award. And then Walter and I just sat down with him and started pulling away the sizzle, right? And a lot of stuff that you buy, there's a lot of sizzle and not a lot of steak. So we took all the sizzle out of there and put the steak in front of him and then put a process down there for him to use. We felt pretty good about each other. We broke bread that night. We started talking. Somebody else came up to us because the other doctor was talking about what it's unbelievable how we worked well to yin and yang together. And then the light bulbs went off, and then Walter and I started a coaching business. And then from there, they were bringing all our marketing stuff. We're like, okay, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Marketing.
Yeah.
And then we just kept, tell me what you want. Tell me how you want it so we can give it to you mindset. And that's how Sales Fuse was born. And then we continue to work and make the process better so it works. So we never, ever send your practice leads, right? I can swing a dead cat and hit 50 leads, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest thing. You can send you as many leads as you want. That's
right? Then it's all on you. It's not my. So what we do is my team actually communicates in real time, qualifies that lead, and books you an appointment for your practice, taking the burden off the front desk, eliminating all these multiple steps, and my team takes care of the practice. Now you have the ability to scale, go hire more doctors are going to make you money, not more staff members are going to cost you money, because they're not really trained, the $10 and $15 an hour girl at the front desk, to do sales, to do marketing, to do all these other tasks other than focus on amazing patient care and customer service for your patient.
Yeah, and what it does is it really allows the patient to become the center of everything that you do, right? I mean, you and I have talked offline a couple of times just about the crap show that is insurance-based care. It's just a mess. You know, I always joke that the last thing that insurance-based care is focused on is the patient. They're focused on the shareholders, right? The big money. You, the doctor, they don't care about you. They don't care about the patient at all. And what this really allows, Sam, this is what I love about this, is it's all about the patient, right? Because like you said, so what is it that, I want to hear some success stories and things like that, but like you really strike me as kind of the last guy in the world that would wind up working with doctors. You know, they'll even admit they're a difficult group to work with.
Oh my God, they're the worst business, the kind-hearted, worst business people I ever met in my life. Because
Amen.
you don't go to school, in medical school, to learn business. So ironically, it was Marcus Lemonis, and I got some pretty cool slide. So we brought Marcus in to speak, and I'm sure you guys seen him on CNBC's The Profit. Walter and I had a private meeting with him, and I still got the doodle that he wrote on. I wish I had it. It was really cool. So we were working in multiple verticals. We had different people in our coaching group, from doctors to HVAC, guys that are doing huge 8-figure businesses. So we sat on the roof at the Godfrey Hotel in Chicago with Marcus, and then he was creating silos. Where's the big need in front of us? And Walter and I kept coming back to all our doctors. And then that's kind of where the bell went off to Marcus. It went off to us, and we realized, right, we got to stay in this area, because this is where, one, we can do the most good, and two, we really know what's wrong here and we know how to fix it. Now, it's not about making the doctor a better doctor. It's making the doctor a better business owner. And all these processes that they have that are not working, and then everyone else offering the same thing to them. It doesn't work. What's going to work? And then being able to make these shifts and changes, right? Medicine changes all the time, right? You have to do CE credits. You have to do, just like software, you got to reboot or upgrade or update. That's what we constantly do behind the scenes. Because we see where the leaks are, where we can plug them up, and they continue to make things better. This is not, we got this is it, and we're done. We continue to make these little tweaks behind the scenes. We got a saying in Chicago, right? You don't care how we grind that sausage in the back, as long as we serve it up on a plate. Maxwell Street Polish.
Every time I go to Chicago, I got to take the rings off, because I won't get them off for a week because of all the salt.
Without a doubt. So our goal and our focus is to make the practice run like a business. And I'm really proud, because I know we've worked with a bunch of your doctors that you sent over. And guess what? We're still working with 100% of the doctors that you sent over. So our turnover is very minimal, because we do so much work on the front end before we take the doctor on as a client. There's a lot of work that we do, and there's multiple steps to make sure that what we're doing, and I know I'm going to get into my demo here and show you, before you take somebody on, and this is how you put a strategy together and come up to an agreement. And then what's the execution, right? You go to a marketing company, you throw them a few grand, you cross your fingers and say, well, I hope what they're going to do works. We don't do that. There's a lot of work that goes on, multiple steps before, and then a team presents the strategy and then executes it once it's all done. I think that's what's given us the other success with these practice owners. We hit the ground running right away.
Yeah. And what I'll add to that, one of the things that I notice about, and this is why, you know, I normally do not have other companies on that talk about lead gen and talk about their services and things of that nature, simply because you have to build trust with me, right? I view myself as a gatekeeper. I always joke with my clients, I'm their consigliere. For those of you that don't know what that is, go watch The Godfather and call back. I just don't whack anybody, okay? I did play golf with Big Tuna Tony Ricardo's grandson. We went to high school together at Barrington High. So there you go. And for those of you that don't know who that is, just don't worry about it. He ran the Chicago Mafia. So here's the thing, though. The thing that I really like, the thing that I have a big BS detector for is bright, shiny object-itis. And you just touched on something, and that is you're building a framework. I don't want to give people fish. I want to teach them how to fish. I don't want people to become cooks. I want them to learn the fundamentals of becoming a chef. Those are big differences because I think a lot of these guys, the men and women, they get caught up in bright, shiny object-itis just like anybody else. They're chasing the latest, newest thing, right? And that's not your approach is very systematic from what you're telling me, Sam.
Oh, without a doubt. We worked with one of your guys yesterday, Dr. Fred. I won't say his last name, just won't say it. And it was your vision and what you're teaching and where you're taking them really was, what we're doing was so complementary that it was tied in. So what I liked about it is that what he was saying, what he was needing, and went back and forth to exactly you and I having the same vision and looking at this as a business. So it's getting away from the shiny object. It's peeling them off the ceiling from that excitement level. Oh, man, I can do this, but I can go buy that and do. And hold on a second here. Let's start small. And he wanted to spend even more. And we're like, hey, let's just start here. Let the ROI move you up the ladder. Then other questions that he had that you teach came right back to, look, let's talk to Matt about this thing. And sure enough, yeah, Matt says that's the way to go. Yep. So we were really on the same page. Wow, we were really complimentary to each other because our vision is the same thing. Love the doctors or healers, but man, you own a business. And this is how we got to look at this thing. Me wanting to say, look, we're going to spend a little bit less and let's grow it. Almost dumbfounded the guy, like, wow, you wouldn't even take more. Can't throw money at something. Process, and let ROI move you up that ladder. So if you start having success, well, guess what? Foundation, step 1, step 2. Now you're going month over month. And now, man, why was month 1 so fantastic? 2 through 6 are all over the place. Can't throw shit against the wall.
Yeah. It's funny because and I tell this to my clients all the time. I'm like, look, if you grow 15% per quarter, go do the math on that for 12 straight quarters. That's 3 years. I mean, if you're starting at, say, $60,000, let's just say, and you're growing that 15 to 20% per quarter, by the time you get to the end of year 3, you're doing like $1.7 million. I mean, you don't have to scale to $6.5 million a year like we did in 18 months. I've just done this a lot. Like I have and you've done growth like that.
Process.
Exactly. It's not because we're smarter or our marketing is fancier. It's because we understand process. It's all process.
It's making the doctor the conductor of the orchestra and stop playing all the instruments in the band.
Yep. Stop going to the instrument seminar to go look at more instruments to buy in the band that nobody can play. Right.
100%. Look, you and I are guilty of it as well. I guarantee you probably got about $100,000 worth of shit that you never even looked at that you bought, right?
This is 1/10 of it, buddy. There's an entire attic full of stuff.
Absolutely. We're all guilty of it. Every one of us. I always say, look, if you're going to buy something, get one nugget of information. I don't care if you spend 100, if you spend 10 grand. If you get one thing out of it, get something out of it. If it's going to tell you that, man, I got to buy this thing, you got to get something out of it. Don't leave it in the shrink. I got stuff in shrink wrap from freaking 10 years ago from events just because I'm like, fuck, let me buy it and see it. But I learned those lessons. This is what Walter and I put in together. So I don't look at it as how do we get you to 7? How does this thing become an 8-figure practice? Yeah. And if you don't get there, shoot for the stars. But if you hit the moon, you'll be extremely thrilled.
Yep.
That's what we're looking for. Is have that vision. How do I get to 8 figures? But man, if I get to 7 and a good 7, you know what? I'm not going to complain about it.
Right. And so I'm going to give you control because I know you want to show some things. Now, for those of you that are listening on the podcast, while I'm giving Sam control of this so he can share his screen, we do post these videos on YouTube so you can go check this out. There are snippets, so that'll be in the emails as well. But you have control, Sam. So I want people to see what you mean about the system because I don't think people really fully understand the power of a system when it comes to generating leads. Because The reason why these leads don't convert is they don't have a system. It's like going to a bar and asking every girl there or every man there, do you want to marry me? Is really what their marketing is like right now.
You'll find one taker. You're only going to find the low-hanging fruit and not what it takes to get the right people in the door. And I always say, look, you would rather have 10 appointments that are going to come in and purchase and do everything instead of getting 50 to get to the 10. And then you start, how do you the next month go to 12? And then the following month to 14. And then keep building and creating a process that's going to handle it for you.
I'll say this. I have a client, longtime client of mine. She gets the understanding of the process. We did our call last week or yesterday. She had 3 patients come in, 2 bought, and they spent on average $9,500 each.
When you get the right people in the room, amazing things happen, right?
Yep. Yeah. And she's a single mom with a special needs kid. The father's not in the state and involved. So she doesn't have endless hours to be at her practices. And she has 3 locations, 3. So she gets this. Go ahead.
So I'm going to start out. This is me. I'm the co-founder of the Driving Force Company. And I'm going to start off with a little giveaway right off the bat in what we do. 2 things I'm going to do. First, we always do a practice growth audit on a practice. We never take anybody on just because to take them on. There's a huge, basically 80-page, 3 team members, a huge presentation, your practice, leaks you have in your bucket, systems that you have running now, where you stand in social media, where you stand in the community. What's the strategy for us to work together for the next 12 months? And what are some expectations that we can have for each other? Before then, we can say, all right, guys, I want this, go execute this strategy. Let's roll. Normally, we charge $9.97, but thanks to Matt, we're going to do it for $4.97. You can text the word demo, and it comes directly to me. So I'm going to take care of all your people personally. So before you even get this, it's going to be a conversation with me to dive into your practice. You can text demo to 312-900-8786. And I'm going to have some more cool giveaways here. But that's step 1 for us to get started. And today's agenda, I'm going to go over the 4 parts to make up sales views: patient reactivation, acquiring new patients, celebrity positioning, and I'm going to do some really cool empire building, thanks to Matt, that we're going to include here for everyone. And for us, and Matt, we talked about it, people, product, and process, and working alongside Marcus Lemonis. And I'm sure everyone has seen Marcus on CNBC's The Profit and everything he's done. I even bring Marcus in to speak to our group. He's become a really great friend to talk to our doctors about business. And at the end of the day, healing is your profession, but man, you own a business. So that's what you got to treat your practice like. And the difference is, you said it right away when we first started talking, we are never going to send you leads, right? Leads is like getting a Facebook like. How many likes can you take to the bank? 0. What we're going to do with my live agents is send you qualified appointments, because we're going to do all the work. So all the digital marketing, all the copywriting, all the social media is built by my team. And then my live text agents are doing the communication in real time and booking qualified appointments. And everybody we have is all in-house. All my text agents, now remember, they're just texting communication, but are all master certified through Grant Cardone and Driving Force University. So I train these people really, really well. And if they don't pass the test, they don't get to talk to your people.
I got to jump in right there, because that's a key thing. And I tell all my clients this all the time. Like, people go, Matt, how did you keep your staff around? And I said, simple. They got certified. And there were 6 areas of our business they had to get certified in. And by the way, they didn't get any raises unless they were certified. Nobody got a raise because they were there a year. I do not believe in that. I'm a capitalist. So show me what you can do for the team. Let me show you how you contribute to the team. And so I love this certification. This is one of the things that I talk about constantly with my members. Get your people certified in the process of how you do it, so there's no question as to how it's done.
Absolutely. And we go through that high volume to bring you those high value patients, because we know the front desk, there's no way they can go through that high value and keep these open communications going and understand empathy, understand objections. There's a lot of training that goes to get somebody in and qualify them. And the biggest thing, a missing piece of this process, what I notice a lot of doctors, is money in the list. They got a database of thousands and they send an email or something here and there, or, hey, we'll get on a call and let's call some people to get in because money's low this month. So there needs to be an absolute process. Dr. Shannon here, absolutely one of my favorite guys. Been with us for a few years. We started out regenerative medicine. We went to his list, booked 12 appointments valued at $6,000 an appointment. Right now, we've grown that list to over 3,000. He's hit 11 record revenue months in a row. And we just launched his med spa, Beauty to the Bone, 3 months ago, where we're averaging 55 cash patients a month. So we also look, as we grow, look, what are the revenue streams? What else can we do for the practice? Dr. Anthony, he did a good job. We ran out of spots the very first day because he actually knew the importance of this thing. So we don't take all the credit. He did a great job. We took it over and just made it better. But Dr. David didn't talk to anybody for a couple years. He's like, man, let's just go get new leads. Forget, I haven't talked to them. These are people that know you, that like you. You've spent money on them to acquire them. They spent money with you. I said, look, let us just run the process. We start booking appointments. Just send me a picture of yourself smiling. Long and behold, it worked. Yeah. Everything we do is under HIPAA compliant. So there's no rules or regulations. I don't know if you wanted to say something or if I cut you off there.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, I tell, again, this is a key component. This is why it's like almost like you and I were separated at birth, which makes sense because we both came through Planet Dan Kennedy. But the reactivation of the clients, I cannot stress to you enough. I don't care. I have a client who has 110 names in Michigan of insurance Medicare-based clients. We ran reactivation. He converted 15. He swore to me that they had no money to spend. He goes, Matt, you don't understand. They come in, they've got oxygen tanks, they've got walkers, they're bringing their Walmart bag. They look like they haven't showered in 3 days. And he converted 15 of them into like an average package of like $1,500 a pop.
I mean, all got money when it comes to their health, buddy. Every one of them.
Well, yeah, if they've got, if they've got a bleeding neck and they're sick and tired of taking pills like regenerative and steroid shots that don't effing work, they're going to do something about it. You know what I mean?
Every time.
Yep.
Every time. And the purpose is continue to stay top of mind to that list, change the offers. But here's the other key component, what we do. We take those new leads that don't convert and we put them in the database for the forever follow-up.
Yeah.
We never let anybody go whatsoever. And then all the notifications, reminders, if we got to cancel rescheduling, God forbid, no show. Look, we have every piece of this puzzle. If they no show, we have a way to get back in front of them to see, why'd you miss it, Kim Beckett? My team handles everything for the practice. What we've noticed, and look, it's always our doctors telling us, we're not making this thing up, is the staff they get bogged down with this. And I go back to, again, they can't handle the high volume of leads to get to the high value appointments because they also do multiple things. Their job is not just to sit there and communicate and try to book appointments. That's not their gig. Because normally what we see, it's a girl about 25 to 35 years old that you're paying by the hour to run the front desk. Your financial health cannot be dependent on this girl to bring in appointments because, like I said, I was a numbers guy. So it takes about 5 to 12 touches to get 80% of your leads in. And we have a forever follow-up system. It's not just 5 to 12. It is forever. So if you got a girl sitting at the front desk and you get 50 leads, will she follow up? 12 times 50, 600 times minimum.
We booked 150 appointments per week between 3 clinics every single week. We had a 70% close rate on the phone. We took on first time calls to book them into an appointment, 70% show rate, 50% conversion room in office. Okay. The staff I needed to do that. I had a separate room with 4 people. That's all they did was answer phones.
Yeah.
That's not even counting the current patients that were calling up for follow-ups. And by the way, all my phone people, none of them had medical experience. 0 medical experience. I didn't want RNs, MAs, people that worked in insurance practices, because in a cash-based practice, it's a completely different mindset.
Absolutely. And it's always to selling the appointment. You don't want them to have medical experience because then they get a little too cute with everything.
Yep.
Then 4 people there, even if you're paying them $10 an hour, that's $40 times 8 hours a day. That's a big cost for the practice. What we created with Grant was that personal touch call. We're beta testing a few things here. So what we would like is that we book the appointment. They're all set. Can that front desk, and we'll create a little script, 20 seconds, make that confirmation call. Ashley's the name we use. We're excited to have you come in Tuesday at 1 o'clock. We need you to park over here. I need you to bring a suitcase full of money, blood, and your firstborn child. and we look forward to seeing you.
Sam, somebody's going to hear that and think that you actually asked them to bring a suitcase full of money. It's just a credit card, right, Sam?
Yes. If they got the suitcase full of money, you'll take it.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm amazed at how many guys have a suitcase full of money. No, he doesn't ask them to bring a suitcase full of money. But yes,
it's all customized. It's all customized for the practice. But the point is, it creates that personal touch and that connection with the front desk. So they know that, hey, we're going to come in and we're going to see Susie at the front desk, and Ashley's in the back doing her job. She can't come out in front. She's busy in the office with the texting. But I want to turn one patient into 4. That's my goal, right? So we also created the referral program in here. I get it. Everybody's asking, stop doing it. We created a process to do it. And what I love about it, it's a zero cost acquisition for the practice. Dr. Greg and his staff here, everybody was asking. There was no shortage of people asking, but you can't measure it. And you can't have follow-up. Everybody says yes, right? You get them at the office. Oh, who do you know that? Of course, yeah, we know lots of people. We'll send them over. How many come over? So we got a process to do this. And again, to continue to bring people in to the practice. We also made a little tweak about how we do Google reviews. So instead of sending them out to everybody, they're at the front desk. They've had a good experience with one touch of a button. We know they're going to leave a 5-star review. We want to, this is all customized. We want to thank them for coming in. The link is in there. And guess what? So is my live text agent, walking them through the process. People don't realize if you get 1 per day, that little productivity raises your Google SEO because you're getting 1 per day. So, and again, this is part of our investigation as well in our practice audit, that what we do for the practice is we get down and show you exactly what's going on in social media.
People will review. I have clients, Sam, that they're an ED and they're like, oh, my guys are never going to refer. I'm like, BS. They refer all the time.
They want to brag about it.
Yep.
They want to brag about it. And then in social media, we know where they're coming from. So we'll take care of this as well. Again, not upon your staff. We will build that brand name in the community, all about the patients, all about the good you do. So people are always seeing this thing. So you need to build that communication. So that is our process for patient reactivation. And then we're going to go out now and acquire new patients in the community using Facebook, Instagram, and then the team will build a video library as well. Then we get into YouTube. We use different media platforms as well. And then again, the people that are qualified and come in now, we book. The ones that are not ready yet, they go in the database and into the reactivation campaign, because then we come up with different offers and different communications for everybody. We never let anyone go. The difference is, again, you're never going to get leads. If you wait longer than 10 minutes to communicate with your lead, 91% of them have moved on to the next person.
Yeah. And if Judy at the front desk is checking somebody in, getting somebody's medical records faxed over, and you're running an insurance practice out of the same place, Judy doesn't have time to do this. And that's the last thing she wants to do.
No. And if it's at the end of the day and all of a sudden she's got to make 38 phone calls, she's not making 38 phone calls. It's just not going to happen. They're too tired. And then our mindset and what we go out and when we market, it's not about the, hey, I got this really cool machine here it's the pain point. Remember, we have a nuclear engineer that built this AI and this platform so we can create, what does this process look like? Who has the pain? Who wants to solve the pain? What makes us a qualified patient and then comes in and buys from you so then we can repeat and duplicate this in our process. And this is why our platform goes through a really cool learning phase. So productivity goes up, cost per leads go down, and you got a team that's taking care of you. So when they go through our funnels that we built, it's a 6-step front-end funnel and a forever follow-up on the back end. We want to educate them and take them through a journey. And let's use knee as an example on how you're going to solve their knee problem. It's always about the patient, not about the practice. Normally what we see is, here's our ad, go to the website or the landing page or call the office. You're putting all the power in their hands. This is what our knee campaign, for example, will look like. We want to take them from the cold lead. Hey, I'm interested. You know what? This looks interesting. And then take them through a journey, right? We don't want to marry them right away. We want to educate them. We have our live agents. We have our videos. We have our AI. We have our retargeting. So by the time we get them to the end, they've been educated. They realize, I got the pain. I feel really confident that you're going to help solve my pain problem. And what does that journey look like? So when we book them, And then we get we mark off all the check marks of what makes this a qualified knee patient for your practice. Now you got somebody sitting in front of you that has gone through this process, knows it, and now you can talk medicine and not try to pitch them.
Yeah.
When there's comments in the ads.
And this is perfect. Sam, I got to say this because, again, Sam's doing exactly what we lay out in the stairway system. Beachhead is step one. Step two, educate and excite. And that's the big step that's missed. People want to go just from getting a lead to booking them and selling them, and that's a big mistake. They've got to know, like, and trust you, because step three is conversion, right? And that's where.
And if you're going to charge the beachhead, even with ED, right? Let's talk about the ED. It's got to be about that journey. Build it all around that. So when they see it and when they book, they know that you're going to solve their problem. And then all the comments on the ads, right? This is engagement. My team takes care of it, because normally what we see, nobody gets to it. It's the end of the day. People are leaving comments and nobody's inviting people to follow the practice. My team will take care of this. If a knucklehead leaves a bad comment, we're just going to delete it. We're not going to engage in stupidity. You're just going to have these people out there. So we're just going to get rid of it. But the people that are leaving good comments, want information, we're going to take care of this for you. And keep inviting people to follow your brand. Keep building who you are in the community so you become that preferred choice. We're also seeing a 97% communication rate in Facebook Messenger, but that also goes neglected. It's a bot. We'll get back to you, and nobody gets back to you. Connected right to my live agent, so we're doing the communication. And remember what I said earlier, 5 to 12 touches. So it's not just, hey, come on in. What problem do you have? How can we solve it? Start asking some questions. Are you a fit? But what happens at 1 o'clock in the morning? Someone's in pain and they're out there shopping around, looking, leaving messages. Our AI communicate like a live agent, even send a link. So Walter created some really cool stuff here that others don't have, and they can book an appointment. And then my live agents will make sure that this is a qualified appointment and then confirm it. But what we want them to do is stop shopping around. Now they can go to bed feeling comfortable. Look, even if it's one patient a month, but if they come and spend $8,000, you want that money, or you want to go to your competition?
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's the big challenge, right? Because a lot, especially in ED, we'll use ED. Well, I mean, a lot of them, if I have knee pain and I can't sleep, it's in the middle of the night. What are you going to do? You get up, you go search for an answer, right? We've all done it. If you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can't sleep because something's on your mind, you're going to go online and try and find an answer. And it's just not reasonable for you to have staff that can, and all the systems for you to be able to do that. That's what's great about all of this, is that it's automated, it's a process, and it's proven. I love it.
And at the end of the day, they get that link to book an appointment. Because again, the AI can communicate and understand positive or negative feedback. And then now, guess what? They booked an appointment. They're going to go back to bed. And then we circle back and say, okay, great. They booked it. Now let's qualify this patient. Let's make sure that this is the right fit to come to your practice. This is the massive amount of follow-up it takes. And now you have a team that's doing it for you. So you're not going to sit there and hire staff and police them on top of it. And then, oh my God, look at all this volume. I got to hire somebody else. And that's another $30,000 a year that it's a sunk cost that you got to spend.
And hiring people today is a pain in the ass. It sucks.
You got to hire them. You got to train them. You got to make them happy. And guess what? If they quit, because then they're going to go down to Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A, they'll pay them at $15 an hour. And then they don't have to go through all this training and all these other tasks that you're going to assign them. Like, you know what? I can just go serve fries to somebody, get paid the same amount of money.
Yep.
So we eliminate all of that from the practice. We do everything we do is in texting. So again, we do HIPAA compliance, and we also follow compliance in texting. So we register with all the carriers under FCC, the new stir shaking law, B2C communication. That's why I got James Bond up there. We've never had one issue. We follow TCPA compliance. So rest assured, we follow the law, because again, all this communication in real time, and you have a team that's doing it for you. You don't have to put it upon your staff. And then stuff that I love. Here we are doing a podcast, webinar, seminar, dinner talks, another big process here. What are you doing to get in front of one-to-many? Have you built a strong enough brand in the community to have people say, you know what, I need to go and listen to this because this makes complete sense?
Yep.
Dr. Dwyer here, absolutely a fantastic guy. Love him to death. He was doing it, spending $6,000 a month. They were guaranteeing him, hey, we're going to put 25 to 30 in your room minimum. And sure enough, they were. And he was closing about 5 or 6. All right, at $5,000 an appointment, it was making sense. But why have all those plate lickers in there? So I said, you're going to give me half the money, and I promise you're going to do better. And he was nervous. So we put 18 in the room, and he closed 50%. He goes, you know what? I get to save money, less plate lickers, and I'm closing more. This shit works.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, this is the whole deal, folks. You've got to spend the time to educate. And, this is, clearly a departure from the normal way that we do our podcast. But the reason why I'm doing this is so freaking important. It is your responsibility. We have to get this information into people's hands, right, Sam? I mean, because the answer for better health is not an insurance-based care. I'm going to tell you that right now.
That is dead in the water, and it's going down like the Titanic. And this is stuff that we do in our practice empowerment workshop. Well, this is where I'm going to start roping you in to come in and talk to our guys, because it's our member that's in there. So we're not in there selling anything. I bring our doctors together. I bring in some special guests like Marcus. I did my last one here with Dr. Prodromos from the Prodromos Stem Cell Institute, who Tony Robbins not only mentioned him, but praised him in his book. We're in the works trying to get Tony on board with what we're doing. And I put a QR code in here. This is directly back to you, Matt. So it's pretty cool here. Anybody that that we do an audit for at the end of the audit, I'm going to personally send them a hard copy of Tony's book, Life Force. They get to see what we're doing with Dr. Prodromos. So we're going to bring even more to the table. You and I are so aligned that I want to bring you in to talk to our doctors. So not only we get to talk to yours, but members and stuff that we do in our practice empowerment workshop, because it's all business folks. And what are our doctors doing in their practice in this part of the United States that somebody else in this part can add on? So this is what we're doing. We're bringing everyone together at no cost. We don't charge for this stuff. What I want to do is build more and kind of bet on ourselves so that we can build your practice. You're going to want more from us. So I'm okay putting my skin in the game and then bringing in other people that are going to talk to you. It's our members that are in front of the room, but then how can we build and scale and do more together that we're not thinking of doing? So let other doctors that are absolutely thriving and say, hey, you know what? I can put this, and go talk to your peers. That's a whole point of doing that.
Do that all the time. Yesterday, I had a situation. One doctor on the East Coast didn't know how to do something that one of my doctors on the West Coast is an expert. I said, boom, put the two of them on the phone. Problem solved.
Yeah,
problem solved in 10 minutes, peer to peer, done. They're talking in a language that you and I don't understand. I'm like, I'm out. You guys are good. You guys and gals are good. And they were both like, oh my God, that was so wonderful. Thank you. Right?
Yeah. You need to be in our positions. I'm here to be of service. That's what we're here for. I run a great business and I'm happy, but our job is to be of service. So as we continue to build and grow and things are really moving in the practice, they always come to, hey, Sam, what else do you got? I want to do more. As you're right, more cash you got. What different media platforms? Now I could throw the whole kitchen sink at everybody. That's not a way to do it. We got to start building. And then as it builds, now we can get into different media. So you want to do television, radio, billboards, printed material. Hey, that's the next level, stuff that you can get out to your community. And it can't be called this 800 number. So what we realized that these are people that are interested, get some info, and then they're done. We create text lead captures, and we're seeing 72% text compared to the 28% that call. Non-confrontational, they get their information. Our live agents are there, and guess what happens to the ones that get information and are not ready now? In the database, in the forever follow-up, because we always stay top of mind. So we will always want to communicate. We got a nice cadence to continue to communicate to that database, but you need to give people information, take them on a bit of a journey, and then see if they're a fit to work with you. Don't try to marry them right off the bat. So we want to keep continuing to grow that database, grow that lookalike audience of people that have the pain, want to solve it, and are buying from you, and grow your brand in the community. You heard me talk a lot about branding. We work with Stephen Rick Cesari, the guys behind George Foreman Grill, OxyClean, Sonicare, all about brand building. It's not about you. It's always about the patient. It's always about them. Once we get to that point, man, things start really dialing in pretty strong. So that's our process for patient reactivation, continue to build the forever follow-up, how we go out and acquire new leads in the community and build your brand. And what else are we going to do? This is included. There's no additional cost. We're going to do a book for you. No, it's not a 400-page Hemingway on what a wonderful doctor you are and you care. I don't give a shit if you care. If you can solve my knee problem, I will love you forever. And that's the whole point.
With the school, nobody gives a shit about the machine. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. But what we do in this is we created a template. You're going to fill it out. It's about the services you have, problems you solve for them. We'll edit it. We'll format it. We're going to create a graphic designers will create a cover. We'll put you on Amazon. We'll put you on Kindle, on your website, on your coffee table. We give the thing away in our marketing to build credibility. And we want people to feel good about making the decision about choosing you. It's not about making $20,000 on Amazon. It's about making $1 million giving the thing away. Once the book is completed, we're also going to do a national press release. This is included. I buy them in bunches, so there's no additional cost for this thing. But what are they going to see? Both are phenomenal lead generation tools that we use. And when people Google your practice, and guess what? They're going to Google your practice. Hey, they got a press release out. Let me get this. Oh, I can get a copy of their book. But guess organically raising your SEO, which, right? Why spend more money on Google? But what's going to separate you from the competition? And believe it, there's a lot of competition out there. Dr. Jim here, same thing. He went, when we started together, he's doing about $800,000, $900,000 a year in his practice. 3.5 years, no, what am I saying? Almost 5 years later, we're doing over 5 million, 3 acquisitions, co-authored a book together, Treat Your Practice Like a Business. And he went from 7 staff members down to 4. Never been more profitable in his life.
Yeah. By the way, 7 staff members down to 4, eliminating that layer. And by the way, that's some of the most volatile layers is that front desk. I mean, they're always shifting out. As soon as you get up to speed, they're leaving, right?
It's not only that, but then you got to police them. Who are you going to put in charge? How are you doing? All that gets taken away with us. We got you covered. But now, right, thanks to Matt, we're going to open up and do a little, open up our Driving Force University and do some really cool bonus. So we sell these a la carte, about 20 grand worth of stuff. You're getting, all your guys are going to get this at no cost. The Expert Course Generator. So Dr. Mitch here, we're doing about $250,000 a year on his info product. What do you know that you can create once and we'll sell it till our arms fall off? Or what can you create that's complementary to something that you're doing now? Don't be afraid to give, right? Again, continue to build and continue to show why choose you. And Dr. Mitch here, he's going to be he does our practice empowerment workshops. He built and sold 11 practices. He got into wealth management and sold that for $430 million in 2017. And he's been working with us ever since. So this is the guy that's sitting in front of the room who's going to talk to you about how to build wealth and invest wealth. Do you think you want to listen to this guy?
Yep.
And I love him, Matt. You're going to love playing golf because we play golf all over the United States with that I play with Mitch. I go in and speak to some of his stuff. He comes in and speaks to some of our stuff. It's fantastic. And he's the most unassuming, nicest guy you'll ever meet in the world. He's like, you know, I want my coffee black. I just want it quick.
Yeah.
And he's an absolute wonderful guy. And then what's your exit strategy? We sell our 8-figure exit formula for $8,000. This is yours. Build a practice to sell, whether you sell or not. When Dr. Jim came to us, unfortunately, he lost his wife to cancer. In fact, he spent every single dollar he had to find the cure. All that pain, and it never went away. But he realized my big why is my 2 little girls.
Yeah.
So we got the shit in gear, and he's well on his way to selling that practice for 8 figures. When he did his book, he did a patient appreciation night. I actually went to it. 32 new referrals, 7 appointments booked that night. And then the PR stuff behind it was fantastic. You don't have to be cookie cutter. But the people that came in, right? Hey, bring a friend. They got a chance to meet him. Everybody, he spent $300 on food. And then I just lined everybody up, get everybody's name, get everybody's stuff. We're going to put it in the software. And then I told the staff, hey, go book appointments. So now we have a process for this and how they booked 7 appointments booked that night.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm telling you a little secret that you didn't even know about. So this is our coaching group. This is mine and Walter's last year doing this thing. I'm looking for guys that can take over and I can send our guys to. Yep. Our shit's aligned. Look, take the mastermind builder. We created a program out of this thing. And what continuity program can you put in the practice? Look, what else can we do to get you out of the time for dollars business? So creating multiple revenue streams for the practice. So that's going to be, these are all available to you. Genier absolutely has been with us for 7 years. We helped launch a second education company. We're doing over $25 million a year in sales. And I love getting a case of wine from his vineyard in Napa Valley, but he's passing it down to his son, Jacob. And I got a lot of doctors that have children that are going to be running the practice. 80% of them fail. They really do. So you got to bulletproof this practice. And now I'm really happy to say, because I got a piece of this vineyard in June, we're doing a practice empowerment workshop that's by invitation only. You cannot come out here and buy a ticket to this thing. You need to be invited. So I know, Matt, you're going to be out there June. This roundtable is going to be really exclusive. One of the members, it might be two, I haven't decided yet, that comes on board from this is going to get that personal invitation to learn from a sommelier. We're going to have a lobster fest on the vineyard. We're going to do a private mini mastermind at Napa Valley Country Club, and they're going to sit with 8 and 9 figure practice owners. Matt, I'm going to end up you speaking from in front of the room. You didn't know that, but I'm telling you from now.
You can tell me if I've got COVID, I'm on my deathbed. I need you to speak. I'm in. It's like, when you're number 6 of an Irish Catholic family, it's how you get fed, is you got to stand out.
That's it. But look, we're going to put together some really cool practice owners, guys that are doing things in their practice, and everyone's there to give. That mastermind at the country club is going to be about scaling the practice. We're going to be at the vineyard at 4:00. We're going to have an amazing lobster fest that we're going to be feast, not fest, lobster feast that Gene is doing. We're going to have a sommelier that's going to be out there. And I will be giving away to a few $500 bottles of wine.
Nice.
That we're doing. So we're going to do things right.
By the way, Gene Kelly and I have known each other for 15 plus years. We were in Kennedy's Platinum Mastermind group together.
Yeah.
So for years, he's smart as a whip. Great.
Can't wait to have you out there.
Great marketer.
Yeah, he can't wait to have you out there. So we're going to put something together and create that experience. But the doctors are going to be personally invited by me that deserve to be in that room, that we can take to that high 7-figure, 8-figure level.
Yep.
And then I assign 3 production managers to every single practice. You have one for the office. You have one for videos and branding and one for social media. I'm going to set the whole thing up. And then for all your people, I'm going to be on there and we're going to do about an 80-page presentation on your practice. Leaks you have in your bucket. I love bleeding neck. That's funny because Gene uses the same terminology.
Yeah, it comes from Perry Marshall and Dan Kennedy. I remember when Perry used it in the room. We were all there. We're like, oh my God, what a great idea.
Absolutely, right? I always give credit where credit's due, where I heard it from, and I heard it from Gene the first time. So we're going to write for the audit, and then the team presents it, leaks you have in your bucket, where you stand in social media. What's the strategy for us to work together, for able to grow and scale? What are some of the expectations from us and what we can expect from you? And then you can say, guys, I want this. Go execute it. We onboard you right then and there. Money follows speed. It's not, hey, 3 weeks later, let's set this up. Thanks for the payment. By the way, your second payment is due. We onboard you right then and there on the spot. So we don't fuck around. We get things rolling.
Yep.
And this is why that audit is so important. So we can do research in the practice. We can do research on what you're doing in social media, where you stand in the community, and put this whole thing together. And then we notice a lot that once people start working with us, that we transform that front desk, that office, into a really cool patient experience, because that front desk now is focused forward on the patient. Not, I got to pick up the phone, I got to do this, I got to call them back. All that gets taken away. And then the practice has less turnover because the front desk isn't stressed out and they're not quitting to go get another hourly job. My team becomes your staff. Beautiful. Dr. Shannon, I know I mentioned him earlier. In the last 2 years, the last 18 months, because I saw him in Tennessee, he's hired 2 chiropractors for the practice. He's not hired 1 staff member. So he's hired 2 guys that are making the money. He's not hired a staff member to do anything else.
We, I've had this on my whiteboard to build something like this for my doctors for about 12 months. And I'm like, when you and I got introduced, I was like, oh, son of a bitch, he's done it. Thank God.
Because all the stuff that goes into building this thing. And then we look, are there multiple vendors, overlapping services? Let's not spend for things twice. Let's have things make sense and have everything under one umbrella, right? A big done-for-you system, right? And then us being the driving force behind the practice. And I want you guys holding up signs, being happy, collecting all that cash coming in. And also, to get this demo, right, you got the QR code, and it goes right to a page that we built for you, or text demo to 312-900-8786. That only comes to me. So It's a separate thing that I got that it's coming to me. So I'm the one that's going to be following up with you personally. I promise to do this. So look, I got no problem making these calls, and then we're going to have a conversation about your practice. You get the discount on the audit, one step at a time, that what we're going to do, and then how we're going to work together.
Yeah. Well, look, Sam, that was awesome. And again, what's that text number that you want people to reach out to? It's 312.
Yeah, text demo, DEMO, to 312-900-8786.
Okay,
So if you
perfect.
text demo, it comes to me, or hit the QR code, and then anybody. So if you text or do the QR code, once we do an audit, every one of your people I'm going to send them a hard copy of Tony Robbins' book, Life Force. It's like 900 pages. I've been halfway through it, but
it's amazing.
Yeah. Man, how he's after regenerative medicine and where this big shift is coming. Some really good stuff from Peter Diamandis. He's Greek, so I got to find a cousin that knows him.
You got to be like at least second cousins. I mean, you probably grew up in the village next door to him, right?
I'm going to find, and if not, I will be when I meet him. But look, this is where to get in with regenerative medicine, the changes, some of the amazing things that are going on. And look, if you're not first, you're last, right? If you're not the first to market somebody, the last person that markets them gets them. If you're not the first to be on the forefront of this technology and of this kind of medicine, you're going to be last. You'll be way behind than anybody else.
Look, having a 7-figure medical practice doesn't mean that you're working more hours. It's about working less.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the great thing that Sam and I will tell you. I mean, Sam and I have both individually built a number of successful businesses. We don't do this to work more, right, Sam? We're not, I'm off tomorrow. It's a Friday. I'm going to play golf.
I never thought I would own a part of a vineyard in Napa Valley.
Yeah.
A kid growing up, and when we first started out, my sister, my brother, and I, we had one room, bunk beds and another bed in a little place in an apartment in Chicago. My dad worked his ass off, only Greek who hated the restaurant business, so he can move us to the suburbs. So then we have a shot at an education. And he paid for our colleges, and he goes, keep in touch.
Right. You get 4 years, baby, and then you're off the payroll. That's it.
Right.
Payroll's done.
I picked up the phone and called him on a screw up, and he's like, and figure it out. You're a grown man. I'm like, oh shit. But that foundation built everything. Trader, businesses, movie business, all these other things. And then when Walter and I got together, that's when everything just kind of like, whoop. That's been our focus for the last 10 years. And we've built a wonderful 8-figure business here. And this is my area. I don't have to be here, but I love talking to doctors and doing the demos and stuff. I'm involved. Other guys at this level, they just want to be. I don't want to get involved in the technology because I'm petrified. Walter sucks me in and shows me how to hardwire to the cloud and do this. I'm like, oh my God, please, stop.
I'm with you.
You be the mad scientist, man. I want to talk to people and do the events and do this stuff. And I enjoy the hell out of it. And this is what keeps me going and training my guys and being of service. And I live an amazing, amazing life, but I get to change the lives of our practice owners and then build these relationships. To me, this is what's been fantastic. When I get doctors that call me and say, I'm on vacation and I'm debt free. I'm taking my kids on vacation. I bought a car without payments. And this is what I try to explain to them. We went with one of my doctors up north, Canals. If you're up in Barrington, you know what Canals is.
Yep.
And we bought BMWs. I wrote the $84,000 check for my X5, and he had to go through finance and payments and all that bullshit. They can start stroking that check for that car and vacation. Man, that's a great fucking feeling when they come back and tell me this thing. So this is what I do, what really gets me going, because then these are doctors. They help people. They just suck at business because you don't go and train on business.
Right. We help them because we have this passion. We have this heart of service, right? We help them because I always tell the doctors, you're my patient. In this relationship, I'm the doctor, you're the patient, right? And we want you to be able to free up time so you can be a better doctor. No more looking at your watch saying, oh my God, I got 3 minutes left because I got to get to the next room because I got to see 35 patients today so that the hope that I might make payroll in 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
None of that.
Yep.
Like, let's reduce the number of patients you see. Let's charge more. Let's give better patient care. Let's help people fix their problems, not just give them some freaking pills, right? Like this is about saving the republic, right? This is what's going to give people the ability to have real, full, rich lives and not be dependent on the chains of insurance-based care.
Look, I got Dr. Pedromos, who's an orthopedic surgeon. who hates opioids, who doesn't want to cut regenerative medicine. This shit works. He even funds his own clinical trials and has the data. This is why he has the Stem Cell Institute under his name, because the government gave it to him. What he does in his work, and he's an amazing client, an amazing friend, and an amazing advocate. So he comes in and gives 2 hours CE credits to chiropractors. His teachings are amazing, what he does. And he's such a fan, because I know orthopedic surgeons are not a fan of chiropractors, and he's a fan because of what the chiropractors can do, and now upping the game in the stem cell region. But they got to learn about business. Quick funny story. I went and spoke at the American Chiropractic Association a couple years ago, and they asked me to talk to the new students that are coming out. So about, I don't know, 80 of them in the room. I got up there and I started talking business. And they were all excited, and they're going to own their own office, and they're going to help people, and they're going to make money and do this. And I started talking about top line revenue versus bottom line revenue. And their faces went like this, and insurance and payroll and rent and lawyers. And every one of them wanted to throw up. Yeah. I'm like, guys, welcome to the real world.
Yep.
You own a bit. You're a business owner. You might start working out for somebody else. Every one of you, if I go and ask each and every one of you, you want your own practice. You want to hang your own shingle. You all want your own building with your big name on it. Or one of my doctors that's doing this right now, one of our chiropractors, bought a freaking building and is putting his name on the building. I'm super excited about that because I know we help him get there. But guys, it process. Once that starts getting dialed in and a team's working for you, now we can have bigger conversations. They can go to you now instead of saying, save me, and you got to go fix problems. You can start having hey, what else are we going to add to this practice? How do we get another 100,000 a month? Those are conversations I know you love to have and I love to have. But when you got to go and always salvage something, that drains you like there's no tomorrow.
How did Nick Saban win so many national championships? His mantra is focus on the process. Don't worry about the score. Don't worry about how many tackles you have or how many receptions you have. Same thing with Bill Belichick. Focus on the process. And if you focus on the process, as Bill Walsh used to say, the score takes care of itself, right? If you focus on the system and the process, the score takes care of itself. Are you going to win every game? Hell no, right? But you've got a better chance of being in every game. And when it comes down to the wet ass hour, you're going to do better, and you're going to do better than your competition, right? And don't focus on the result, focus on the process.
Yeah, and that's what we look for. And this is why we do a practice growth review at the end of every month. And we go over the numbers, how many came in, how many closed, and we're looking for month over month growth. Now, yeah, some guys are going to be faster at that growth, but even if you got one extra patient, one extra paid person per month, and you just scale that way, well, guess what happens?
Yeah,
there's your 15% right there and then some. But what are all these other moving parts that are going on in the practice that you didn't have before that are making you better? And that's what we look for. So all right. We're looking forward to a great journey. Text demo 900-8786-312. Use the QR code, and then we'll get you guys on a deep conversation with me. Get info, do your audit, take steps, and then the entire team and I will be on that audit as well. For Matt, I'm going to do that and take care of all your guys.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sam. I hope you enjoyed this as normal. We went a little bit longer, which I knew we would, because you get Sam and I on here talking. Neither one of us can shut up for very long, right?
Absolutely.
It's the Chicago in us. Folks, take advantage of this. Hopefully see you out in Napa. Thanks again, Sam. I really enjoyed it. And folks, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And so Sam, thanks again. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this episode, take a moment and share it with your fellow medical professionals, or post a positive comment and rate it on wherever you just listen. Now, don't forget, you can get a copy of my book, The Anatomy of a Seven-Figure Medical Practice, for free. Just pay $7.95 in shipping and handling. Plus, you'll get over $1,197 in free bonus material. Simply go to srpmedicalmarketing.com/book. That's srpmedicalmarketing.com/book. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.